Welcome to the Dear Lovejoy podcast. We're live now. Hello, everybody. If you're watching this on YouTube, Johnny Vegas is here, my guest today. Johnny, I have surpassed myself. Every guest I get on, I buy a present, and I've surpassed myself this time. Oh, what's that? There's noise happening.
It's all right. Come on, let's go with it. This is. It could be a zombie apocalypse.
This is what I got you. This is. I can't remember if it's beer in champagne or champagne as beer, and if it's sparkling.
It's a mixture of champagne and beer.
Yeah, well, it's a beer. It's a champagne that's made out of beer, like a sparkling, and
mate, that's a guaranteed hangover in a box, isn't it? Isn't it biblical?
It does. It just looks amazing, doesn't it?
Do you know Eddie Waring, who used to commentate on the Rugby League? Yeah, he technically was raised as a Quaker,
really,
and wasn't meant to drink. But he found a loophole in the Bible about the grape and the barley.
Right.
So he used to get hammered on cider because he said God had missed it out.
Missed the apples.
Yeah.
God had missed the apples.
So when he was commentating, going, and it's an up and under.
He'd had a few ciders. Yeah, so I found that in a shop.
I think I should drink this during the interview.
No, because it's not cold.
Oh, right. Well, why don't you chill it?
Okay.
Put it in your own fridge.
Right. Hold on a second. I'll put it in the freezer.
Look at this. Tea, water, and then a bitter champagne combo. Where did you get that?
I just found it in a offline.
Somebody left it at a party, didn't they?
I'll put it in the freezer. By the end of it, we'll be able to have.
Oh no, we'll forget, and then at 2 a.m, you'll think that somebody's broke in. Cheers, mate. Sorry, I seem to be very ungrateful about that. I'm always immensely, when people think of me and think of what would you like to drink?
Yeah.
It always lands in a nice place.
Beer champagne is the one. Now,
emotionally, it's like a hook a duck. Everybody wins.
How what have you been up to this? I was going to not Google you, and then I decided to. And all that's happened on Google, because I know you quite well and know stuff about you. But the big thing is your Trump rant on last leg, which I love your tweet off the back of it, where you said, "I know my primary function is to try and entertain, but if I'm asked about a subject I'm particularly passionate about, then I have to speak from the heart. Always have a laugh with the gang, but thank you to the last leg for allowing me both options. Love you, Cookie Kids. I watched it back because I'd seen it at the time. I watched it back. It's brilliant, isn't it? Because that's really from the heart how you felt.
I don't know if it's brilliant. I think there's just moments where you go, you're on TV, you're televised, but you if you were talking to mates in the pub, it's like so many other issues where you go, if you ask my opinion, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
I know I have a socialist tendency. I watched Danny Dyer last night, and it was brilliant.
It was.
I know, and I tweeted today, and I factored in going, you've got to get back on Sunday brunch, but you're going, and this isn't, we're not here to go, oh, love what you do, love what you do, love what you do. He's a twat.
Who, Cameron?
To call him out like that is actually, there's a working class voice. I think they think that we're all pro-Brexit.
Yeah.
And it's a really unfair treatment of, there's been a protest. A lot of people after that vote realised that the protest was actually going through. Now it's happening. We're knackered.
Well,
and I don't want to get political
but
in the first few minutes to talk to you. On the, on the last leg, you go, I had another thing that went viral. I had to explain to my mum that I'd never masturbated over a nun. I didn't expect that to get the kind of retweets. And you don't want your mum to go to bingo and go, oh, I saw your son. I saw your son on Google.
Nice.
And apparently he's seen a man having sex with a fish. Which I did see.
Yeah.
But I only brought it up for comic. I was trying to wind him up, but you know me.
Yeah.
I'm the stick in the spokes. I'm not the guy that pushes the show forward.
Yeah.
I'd bring it to a grinding halt.
No, you just say interesting stuff, and that's why people love you. But the Trump thing's great because
I think it's like a blood vessel in my head that bursts every now and then. You go, I have to say this now, or else I'm going to hell.
But for anyone who doesn't know what you said about Trump, you sort of basically weren't happy with the way he's separating the children.
No, I don't, and I'm not happy with this notion of the special relationship.
Yeah.
I watched a fascinating. As you get older, isn't it bizarre how you're drawn towards documentaries?
Oh yeah, I love a documentary.
And there's things I watch that as a kid it would, if you only had one telly in the house, you had to watch what your dad was watching.
Yeah.
So coming in and the news went on and you're going, oh, can't wait to get a Spectrum. I won't have to live under this cruel rule of thumb of my dad trying to educate us on what's going on in the wider world.
That was it, yeah, nationwide or the news every time.
Yeah.
My dad used to sit there cupping his ears like that, going shh, 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 shh. So it was annoying. But I think, talking about that, being younger, it seems similar politically as the environment when we grew up. We're similar age. I'm a bit older than you, but we're similar age. But same sort of thing. There was like the left were going really far left, the right seemed to be going far right. There was lots of discourse and people seemed disenfranchised with the country. Doesn't it feel the same now? There's a lot of talk about immigration back then as well.
I genuinely think, and again, it's if you're going to go on social media, you can't go on social media and then bleat about social media. There'll be people who'll always disagree with you, and I'm up for debate. But you go, I think Corbyn has come around just at the right time. We weren't left enough. We've not been left enough for years. We were trying to coax that middle vote section of the country, and you're going, within the Labour Party, we should have standards. Healthcare, education, workers' rights need to matter. We don't need to convince people that we're fit to run the country. Run the country by example. If Labour had not been so, if there hadn't been so much infighting, if they'd got behind Jeremy, we'd still have a chance of winning that last election. Which would have been a total unexpected. But the guy goes out and he speaks. He's not just a great orator. He can't be bought. He can't be had. Years ago, I made a very conscious decision not to deal with red top papers anymore. They're going through your bins, and then the next day they want you to sit down and talk to them about your latest project. And I didn't want a career if it relied on winning over papers who dealt in the way they did. I knew my phone was tapped. I knew that, you know what I mean, way before the scandal broke. I didn't want to do it. But I was basically told I wouldn't have a career unless I had them on board. And it's the same with politics. And the thing with Corbyn that I really respect is, look at the Remembrance Parade. They were criticising for what he was wearing. And that's the BBC.
I think there's a real problem with journalism at the moment, and I don't think they're in a great place. The money's sort of coming out of that industry, and they've got to get clicks. They've got to be the first, not the most accurate. That's important. They've got to be controversial. So anything anyone does, like Jeremy Corbyn, even if people all agree with him, they'll hammer him because that's how you get people to engage with your journalism. And
you know the paper I refuse to mention that always wins the best website, and you go, it's because people go on and click in anger, and you go, don't give them the oxygen.
Well, I did.
Just leave them to wallow in their own. Do you know what I mean?
I got absolutely hammered once in a paper, and it took me quite a long time ago. Actually, it's really funny because the bloke who did it tweets a lot about mental health now, and I thought, Jesus Christ, you gave me, you hurt me a lot. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But he did it, and it took me for ages to realise that the reason why he did it was because his editor had probably gone, you need a column by the end of today. And he went, Christ, what do I do? I haven't got anything. All right, I know what to do. I'll slag off Lovejoy. And then you realise that's just his job. It's not a good job. It's not a job I want to be in. But if you're going to do that...
I had a guy who ended up doing PR for another comic up in Edinburgh, and he went, I was a guy that knocked on your door and told me mum, while my dad was in hospital on the critical list, that I was in rehab.
Oh, no.
And I'd gone to Spa.
Kidding me.
I'd nipped out to get a bit of shopping. And apparently my mum thought I'd checked myself in somewhere. And thankfully when I came home and talked to my mum, she went, I thought you wouldn't pay for out like that. You're going, why would I pay for rehab?
That's bizarre.
I could go to a resort.
That's bizarre.
And just run
But
away.
you
No, but he was like, I'm really sorry, I was being pressured by my editor. And you're going, you know what you did was really out of order, and you're very lucky that my brother wasn't home, because he's always looking, he's like that, you know, in Wall-E,
Yeah.
you know, the massage robot, he's always looking for someone to hit.
Yeah.
I wish my brother had answered the door. Do you know your brother's in rehab? Are you calling me a...
Yeah. Bash. But do you think it's a tough job for them because they've got so much pressure on them?
I don't think it's a tough job. I think morally, you either go, you started off with, same with politics.
Yeah, but they all start by going into the industry and going, I want to do the best, but then the pressures, they got to feed their kids as well.
Yeah, but again, I'm not doing a pro-political broadcast on behalf of the Labour Party, but you go, do you know what I love about Corbyn? He doesn't know anybody anything. He hasn't done deals to get where he is. I'm sure everybody in politics starts out, no matter what party you're from, with an earnest desire to push your case. But to get to the point where you can change things, you have to do deals.
Yeah, but in fairness, he was anti-Europe for most of his life, and now he's had to toe the line and become pro-Europe because he decided that's the party line. So he's adapting and changing as well.
As a lifelong Labour supporter, I'm going, I disagree. Look, you're allowed to disagree with your own party.
Yeah.
But
they're not.
If debate within your own party
but that's why he got grief, was because he wasn't uniting his party. He was saying they can vote the way they wanted to. And so, anyway, what I find interesting though is that you were discussing Trump, and what I find fascinating at the moment is how American politics, whatever Trump has done, he's put himself on the front page, pretty much of politics in everybody else's country. It's such a bizarre thing that we are discussing American immigration policy in our country because they are such a huge thing. Because of social media.
We're discussing a guy like somebody who's said something random on America's Got Talent. Do you know what I mean? This guy is actually spin before policy. He will. You've got a leader who goes online calling people names.
Yeah.
On social media.
It's surreal, isn't it?
And you're going, he's taken Twitter as far as it can go in terms
It's unbelievable.
You're going, why is there not somebody by his bed with a bat begging him to put the phone down and going, I'm going to have to hurt you again?
But it's intriguing, the world.
He needs
isn't
cobbling.
Let's
Did you move my penguins? There should be a safety word like that. You know, in misery.
Let's move on to.
Give him a penguin phone and hurt him really badly. Take him to a zoo one day.
Where you grew up? What was it like growing up there? St Helens. Is that where you grew up?
St Helens. Very. I can't really, without myself promoting, it's like the book, it was that, it sounds like a very classic, it was idyllic in some ways, but I think it's idyllic because you're young. And then a financial, political reality kicked in of the 80s came along. We didn't have loads, but I loved my life in St Helens. Just loved everything about it. Quite traditional. My dad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In terms of roles of the parents, everything. But my dad did half the cooking, so that's why I'm not freaked out. You know, if I come on the show and you go, oh, what's he doing with the pan?
Sunday brunch.
He's a sick man. It was a happy childhood. Kids learning your pecking order. You know what I mean? Street bullies, older brothers who I often worry now that, like, my son, he's got a younger brother who's much younger than him.
Yeah.
But you go, I had older brothers. I saw lads who were only children who got some terrible grief. My brother's attitude was, it's my job to bully you. if anybody else comes near you.
Yeah, my brother did that. He stuck up for me. Yeah. He used to give me a little clip round the ear, but then would always stick up
I'll
for
give
me.
you some grief. But if he gives you grief,
Can I ask you a question about St Helens Rugby League team though? Because that.
I do waffle as well. Don't be afraid to cut me off.
No, I'm enjoying it.
I go off to a place where in my head I'm going through your cupboards.
It's a podcast, so it's you must excuse this podcast, by the way. There's building work going on out there, and we're so there's a lot of banging.
There's a bloke there cutting flags, but I respect him for that. And anyone from my street in Richmond, I also support the garage behind us. He employs 8 people. I know you don't like him, and sometimes there's cars on the street, but just live with it.
Yeah.
Get over yourselves.
Let people get on with their jobs. But so St Helens Rugby League team, when I worked at Sky Sports, there was a thing where they used to talk about the ratings of things, and some of the things didn't rate at all. Rugby League, bizarrely, is a really good rating for Sky. The passion that goes into that sport, where the rest of the world and literally the rest of the country has no idea what that sport is about, but there's this little corridor across the north of England, isn't there? You lot are just fanatical about it. It's just what is it about that?
It's our lives. We've been again, and it's the last kind of political reference. But you go, we were after the miners' strike and everything else. We were largely ignored. It feels like London's a bubble.
Yeah.
The one thing we have, what every town has, what the source of pride is, the one thing you look to every week is your team in Rugby League. And we're very fortunate to have, consistently one of the best teams in the league.
But why was
St
it?
Helens. But because it takes you out.
But why wasn't it
It
football?
removes it from... They can take everything from us. They can't take the fact that we still, season in, season out, win or lose, we still produce a brilliant rugby league team. We refuse to lie down or surrender. It unites us.
But why is it only played in, like, whatever? This is like small
in the north.
I know, but it's even
making it sound like Game of Thrones.
But it's even a small.
What the Night's Watch?
But it's only a
We're
small
protecting
area.
you from Scottish Rugby Union.
Didn't
And
they,
that's been massively sorry, Scotland, but.
Didn't they have? Didn't they put a team in London? Is it still there?
Yeah, they did. No, it financially it collapsed, and there was a big. It kicked off with the Broncos because they were given a basically 4-year buy to try and let them get established. Yeah. Lesser teams. There was I think at the time when Sky initially took over, it was moving it to summer rugby. It was a big kick-off. And money went to the bigger established clubs. Not enough money went to the other clubs struggling. And in terms of getting back into the Super League, it was virtually an impossible ask if you weren't already there. I think at the time, I say think because legally I've got to be. I rang the Daily Mirror sports desk once. I'd had a few to drink, and Hull had beat Wigan. And I tried to take out a quarter-page ad in the Sunday Mirror to say thank you. The guy on the sports desk was going, "Go on, mate, you're drunk." The news desk would have loved it.
Yeah.
But the guy on the sports desk was going,
Like
and at one point I went, "I've got most Lindsay built in my car. Bad things might happen if you don't run this ad." And I woke up the next day going, "Oh, God, what did I ring the Mirrors today?" And they...
Yeah.
Turns out he ignored, but I felt for it. There are clubs that need more, you know what I mean? There's money that needs to go out more. Maurice Lindsay, I think, was chairmaning the committee running the transference to Summer Rugby League. But he had a vested interest in the club that at the time, Wigan, for 10 years, was the club to beat. And you're going, I don't know any other sport that would allow a chairman to be organising. So lesser clubs lost out. Saints will never go down. We'll always be in that top 4, 5, 6. You know what I mean? We will.
But why doesn't the sport catch on? Why is it not got?
I don't know. I first moved to Richmond, and the first night it was a grand final, and I took it for granted I'd go down the road, into a pub and go finals on.
No one was watching.
7 pubs later, I'm on Google, and I found a pub in Twickenham, and there was a lad in there. There was a cast van, and I walked in just as flowers had floated. It's one of them. Down here, more so, I'd say, than up north. There's a League versus Union.
Yeah.
Which is the better game. My son's played Union at school. I've took him to Union matches. But down, I mean, I'm deep in, if this was a Western, I'm deep in Indian territory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Near, close to Twickenham. You don't stand a ghost of a chance. But I don't, on a good day, I'll want to wind them up. On a bad day, you go, I don't care. I think League's a better game to watch. It's faster. It's, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't watch
the
either
time it takes for
but
line-outs and everything with Union. Union accommodates fatter people.
Not anymore, though.
No, it does.
Giants.
Oh, yeah, but they still, look how quick they're knackered.
Yeah.
They're dead happy for the line-out.
Anyway, let's move.
It gives them a minute. It's
Johnny,
like someone. I watched my son play a match,
Yeah.
and a lad came off. He was huge and quite muscular, and he came off with a bleeding nose, and he went, I must apologise for my tears. But I have a definite affinity towards blood. And I just started laughing in front of this kid's face. I couldn't, you know, and he going, you're in the wrong sport.
Yeah.
I must apologise for it.
Right, Johnny, we're going to have to move on from Rugby League, otherwise
Okay.
we're going to have no one listening to us anymore or watching us, because Rugby League's not popular. Look, your life is never dull, is it?
Yeah, but why do we stay away from things that aren't popular to
I don't know, I spent the whole of my life not being popular.
Stop it.
Your life's...
Come on, let's break this down. Let's not make it that classic injury. I want you to get to the heart and soul of me. If I'm not crying by the end of this,
I'm going to do it.
It's not worth doing the podcast, is it?
I'm going to get you crying.
And then I left him in the skip. We need one of them moments.
Yeah, no,
tell us about breakthrough.
Tell us about when you killed a man. I heard about a very famous celebrity who had apparently killed a man the other day, but I can't tell you who because we're live on a podcast. Yeah, I'll tell you afterwards. But I was like, really? Actually killed a man? Yeah.
Oh, I watched The Shield where he was interviewing a killer, and he went, "Oh, you got to know," and he went out and he killed a cat. And I've considered doing that.
Killing cats? No, Johnny.
No, somebody else is in your garden. Not killing it, just like having it look at you going, I could have done. Now go.
I'm top of the food chain.
Shitting someone else's edge.
Look, let's run through things in your life.
Let's have it clear. I haven't killed a cat.
Priesthood. You nearly went into that.
Priesthood!
Potter. You were a potter for a
Yeah.
while. Is that what you could? You worked in Argos. You sold boiler insurance. You're a comedian, you're an actor. Your life has been kind of an interesting life, an adventure. Do you think...
I didn't set out to be a comic. I think that's what it is. And I think after studying ceramics, from a young age, from going to Ed study to be a priest, which seismically shifted everything, shifted my life, kind of stole my childhood from me a little bit.
How long did you do it for?
Only a year and a half.
You were 11?
Yeah.
I mean, excuse the pun, but Jesus, that's a lot of... That's a tough thing to ask an 11-year-old kid to do, isn't it? Study to be a priest.
It was, and it was something that it took years for me. And I think only when I started writing the book that I came back and I kind of went home to my dad and I went, I was too young. And you shouldn't have, you know what I mean? It shouldn't have happened. It changed everything. I came back from there and I was like a 12-year-old with the mind of a 40-year-old. I'd been away from home and I was with kids and kids didn't know just how lucky they were. I felt like somebody going, you can have a bath when you want. You can do this. You know, you moan about having a bath.
Yeah.
When you're removed from all these sort of luxuries and the love of your home and you're in amongst people who are trying to bend you to their will and you're being told to ignore stuff that you know is wrong, you just come back at you. I can't put it any other without sounding... It's like a Vietnam vet. You're a young Vietnam vet. You come back and you've got 1,000-yard stare because you've witnessed stuff that you shouldn't have had to. And I think from that point on, add on to, if you're reading out like stuff you've done for a living, you go, add to that a very pragmatic thing of having to earn your own money. Do you know what I mean? Having them odd jobs, doing all those things. I had that, but in the background something was growing, and I never intended to be a comic. It was never. I found myself watching lots of comedy.
Yeah.
Something drew me to it, and then one day you're kind of going, you know, it's what you want to do, but then you end up almost like funding your own apprenticeship. You go into clubs. It's like the first person who buys an album and listens to music, and you get it. You get it between the lines. You get what that person's trying to say to you, and nobody else will understand it. And it's not because you're smug or anything. You're going, somebody else feels like I feel. And I couldn't get my head around how somebody could be so funny constantly for 20 minutes. I didn't understand what a set was or anything. But the first time I came back from college, and I went to a comedy club I went to an art centre in St Helens, and I knew Dominic Holland had just been nominated. And I'm probably the only person in St Helens who knew he'd been nominated for the Paddy. But I went along that night and you're going, there's something magical about this. My son recently, he's got a bass guitar and he's going, I think I want to do music now instead of... Yeah. You know, and you go, oh, there's a surprise. Yeah. And he winds me up going, you know, can I go on Britain's Got Talent? Or and you're going, no, I'll tell you what, when you're old enough, get a job, form a band, stand in rooms and play to 6 people. And if you still want to do another gig, you'll know it's what you want to do. So
where was your first gig then? When did you go up on stage?
I kind of did it accidentally. I did a karaoke night. And
you were supposed to sing.
Wouldn't let go of the mic. And they asked me to come back and compare it. I've still got the poster. It was Mad Dog Mike Pennington. And I don't know, it just kind of grew, but it became this thing. I think after my degree, did ceramics, got a bad grade, really hurt by that, because I thought I'd, you know what I mean?
You love it, don't you? You love doing that. You love being on the pot as well.
I've just bought a kiln. Oh, I'm coming back to it proper.
You have to let me come round again, because you did it once. I've done it once on the show.
It really hurt you, didn't it?
I was just so bad, but I really enjoyed the process.
Bad. It's your first go on something that...
But there's this kind of bit where I was 2 or 3 minutes into the item and I was on the potter's wheel and you were showing us what to do, and I was a few minutes into it and I was thinking, oh, I'm on TV. I'd forgotten totally. And that's why I think that's the beauty of it, and I think that's what you probably like. When you're on that potter's wheel, you're concentrating something, go round and round and round. They talk about mindfulness. That is the ultimate, isn't it?
The world goes out.
Yeah. You can't think about anything. You're just concentrating on a bit of clay.
Do you know, I took that to a gig. First time, because I kind of Frog and Bucket in Manchester, the owner Dave Perkins went, you should do a one-man show, and you're going, yeah. Then you're going, I haven't got enough for that one-man show, and it was literally throw stuff in the car. It was like a prop thing. Yeah. But the first night I ever did it on stage, honestly, there was lads in there, really aggressive hecklers, and the minute you started making the thing, it was like a vacuum, and it all went quiet, and they were all just
watching the
drawn into this thing of going, like, how was that become this?
It's like watching a fire. It's good entertainment.
Yeah, so the old VHS one. Yeah, when you haven't got a real one. Yeah, put it on your telly.
Yeah. So your first show you did as a stand-up, you did with a pot as well? No. I did open spots. I did, but I didn't understand what a set was. Did you write material?
So I was like, you have to be original every time you go on. And it took me a while to realise that you can say the same thing
over and over.
Twice.
3
so
times.
I was doing new act competitions, but wowing in 1 week, everything was experimental, of having a drink, sitting there going, what do I feel like talking about? And some nights it hits and some nights it's Malcolm Hardy, you know, the up the creek. himself and Jane booked me. They went, we like the way you die. Will you come back and die again? I went, I will, but I don't intend on dying. And Ricky Grover was lovely to me. He went, mate, you were too. And that was one of my first big clubs in London that I played, where it was any time where I've been quite open about this. It is a alter ego thing. Johnny's a genuine alter ego when it comes to stand up, and sometimes it messes over into like TV stuff. But Johnny is like fearless, this. And the one night when I'm going, please be humble, just come out and do a nice set. So our first big booking, and I got my ass kicked. A guy rode in on a 10-speed bike, called me a wanker, and then sat down and fell asleep. Malcolm Hardy came out, took his hat off, weeding it, emptied it, woke him up and went, there's your hat, mate. And he put it on his head, and it got a massive cheer. And he got, right, this is a room that Johnny was born to play, and I've told him to be humble. Right. And Ricky Grover went, give him nothing. Go out, hit him hard, and keep it. And Ricky went out and did this amazing set. Next time I went back, was ready, you know what I mean, to go, give him hell. Because they come here for hell. They did at the Creek, you know what I mean?
That's what they wanted.
Yeah. It was hold your own. Don't.
What made you come up with the name Johnny Vegas? Because it is a brilliant name. And it's kind of, you became, I mean, it feels like you became famous very quickly, but did you?
No. Again, it's that same thing. I went back to my L6 form college giving a talk, and they're going, every question's like, how'd you get famous? What's it like being famous? What? And you're going, I found something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was almost like the black sheep of the family. I just found something I was drawn to that I did. Les Dawson used to write and keep his books under the bed because he was ashamed of being interested in writing because it wasn't the thing to do.
Really?
Yeah. It's a working class. Sometimes we do ourselves a massive sort of misfavour by not celebrating the gifts we have, because it's not meant for us. It's meant for others. It's almost like going back to that donning your cap.
Yeah.
And it felt like I was sneaking off being some kind of comedy hooker. I announced it in the pub and everybody laughed me off, and you're going, right, and I kind of got on with it with a few happy accidents. I heckled Dominic Holland that night, and they asked me to come and compare. And I died in 97 in So You Think You're Funny. No, 96, 95, So You Think You're Funny. Died the death of death in front of all my heroes in a room up in Edinburgh.
And still wanted to go back.
It destroyed me. I think it was a making of me, because it was like, well, now you don't have a career in this industry. Go back, and the regular gig you've got in St Helens, do what you want to do. Let Johnny off the leash. Because nobody's going to employ you. So at least you can do the stuff you want to do. So
did your act get wilder and wilder then?
I don't know if wild is... There's things I've done.
There's a lot of rumours.
There's stuff of... Yeah, there was one on stage. I did poo on the stage. All right.
Why am I laughing?
But I did it. No, I did it genuinely, because I had a reviewer there from the Liverpool Echo, and I said, oh, you must be the comedy reviewer. And he said, no, I normally do pet shows. And I went, right. And I went, why are you here? And he went, nobody else wanted to come. And we were at that point in the stage, in the talk, where everyone's got a bit of cabin fever and we're all losing. You've been living in a van for a month. Yeah. And all I did was recreate Crufts. So I had somebody walk me around as a dog. And I said, it's going well. His tail said, oh, he could be in trouble. Squeezed out the tiniest amount of poo. Now, bear in mind at this time, Jane Horrocks was touring with Hamlet and she was peeing in a helmet, and that was considered art. What I did was considered crass. But it was my answer to the Liverpool Echo at the time of, don't send a guy who reviews pet shows to review what we're doing. At the end of the gig, it all kicked off and everyone was stood round it. Honest to God, you'd think it was plutonium. Nobody could near it. And I tried to convince them that it was Nutella and that it was a prop. But my techie Jex was stood there nodding, and I went, it's Nutella in it. And Jex nodded. I went, Jex, just pick it up. And Jex went, and he just shook his head and walked off. So I had to pick up my own feces and pretend it was Nutella and act casual.
Oh.
And the best thing was the phone call with the promoter when he went, I heard you shout on stage tonight, and you're going, I did, but trust me, it warranted it. And he went, and I didn't even get to finish. Jane Horrocks is pissing in the hell. He went, Johnny, the thing is, the show's good enough without it. As if I was introducing it as a new feature every night.
Oh, no.
The shows have run wide because Johnny can't squeeze one out. I'm not proud of it, but I stand by it. Do you know what I mean? It was necessary for the moment, and
was it a pinnacle point in your career, like where you went, look, and do
it was when we picked up the Liverpool Echo, and it went, there was a time when a comedian could make you laugh with a wink. Those times are over.
Do you wake up the next day though, after that night, and go, as you wake up as Michael,
genuinely,
wake up as Michael and go, what did Johnny do last night?
Always. I've always been, like you were referencing the Trump thing. I was half joking, but my son, you're going, I don't want to get on the wrong, I need to get on the wrong side of Trump, but I don't want to. You go, I'm on the watch list now. This is trending. Yeah. I'm officially a critic of his. Do you know what I mean? Every time, I don't take it for granted that I get to do or say what I want.
Yeah.
I don't. Johnny has a fearlessness. I have a real, as Michael, I'm an observer. I prefer, do you know what I mean? If I could go back to being the weirdo in the corner, I love people watching. I love watching people at their own, you know what I mean? At their leisure. Now, if I sit in a pub, they want to sit with you, and I don't get to sketch or listen. I used to sit there and just draw people in the pub going, just capturing their moments. And Michael is, I'm adamant that my son has Michael as a dad and not Johnny. I've talked about this before, it's nothing new. But I'm sort of going, there's times where I want to blend, not for selfish reasons, it's just that I miss being able to casually observe life, because it fascinates me. How people interact, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether you agree or disagree, just being there. And at one point, God forgive me, I started making up relations who were ill, because I'd have people going, "Sat on your own," and you're going, "I've just had bad news about my auntie Gertrude," and they're going, "Oh," and I'm going, I think I'm best on my own. And by that point, they've already sat down, going, you know, they do 2 meals for a tenner. Yeah. And then they just sit with you, and you're going, I really want some.
I don't think people can't, because you can't get the little violin out for being famous or on TV or something. But you know, I last night I was at a pub and watching a football match, we're in the World Cup, so I was watching the England match. But and just someone drunk came up, and then you're being polite, but they just wouldn't go. And I was with my mates watching the football, and it just goes on and on and on and on, and you can't be rude, because you can't be the guy who's rude.
Well, you can, but you know what? I think later on I've developed a kind of it's almost like being a landlord of my own life, and that sign of you know what I mean? We have the right to refuse.
Yeah.
Saying it. And now is my thing of going, I genuinely would like to think I'm a pretty patient person.
Uh-huh.
But there are people who just don't want that. They don't want the patience. They don't want that. They're talking rubbish. I've been in pubs all my life. I reserve the right to tell someone to cough.
Do one.
Yeah, because it gets to the point where you go, my best mate, Brian Davis, I might meet up with him, you know what I mean? Once every, 8 weeks or something, and we get one night out. And when they come up, and they're shouting in your face, and you introduce him, and they don't want to talk to him, and you're going, you know what? This time's too precious. I have got better at going, go, mate. Go. And that idea of public property, of going, you can't talk to me like that. And you're going, you're being an arsehole.
Problem is, everyone, you're so friendly, and you genuinely are a friendly guy and a nice guy, and everyone just wants to talk to you. What's it like, though, when you're...
Yeah, but it's like bullies, isn't it? It's like, how do you deal with them? If you look back at school now, if you could go back to school now, there's certain lads who made your life hell, and if you was back at school now with the knowledge that you've got, you'd go, and? Your mum's short. Oh God, my mum's not natural height. I can't go in. He's gonna corner me. He's gonna tell me that my mum's short.
Right. So when you say about Michael,
now I'd have a horseshoe and go, and yours is a slag,
and smack him. But when you're Johnny,
and you know who you are. I hope you're watching this live.
The down.
Because she was. My brother had a. No, he didn't.
The downside of Johnny is like you were just talking about it there. The upside though, the joy must be amazing. So you lose your ability to sit in a pub on your own, but that joy you bring to people.
Oh,
how does that feel?
Honestly, don't get me wrong. At no point do I bemoan, and I've been very careful from a long time ago with my son of going. There's a payoff for we don't worry about a gas bill coming in.
Yeah.
We don't have the same concerns that your nan and granddad had. And it comes from this. Okay, so there's a balance to strike with that. My son recently pulled me up for being arsey with someone who wasn't taking a picture of me. And he kind of went, dropped the ball on that one, didn't you?
Oh no, when your kids are telling you.
Bit oversensitive. No, I don't. You can't be moaning. It's the life you choose. I think you get defensive on behalf of your kids. I've been through that period of going, if you want a picture, come and ask. Manners is my big thing of, no, get on this photo. Really. Get ready. But of course I know that, look, I've said for years, my dad was a brilliant joiner, but not enough people pulled him up going, hey, that closet you built. You know what I mean? He's 72.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, the hangers just slide on. You're primarily, and if you're going to take issue with it, is people coming up being happy and grateful for what you do. And if you don't want to do it, don't do it. And we will both have met people who, on camera, will play it as the most down-to-earth folk who can be the biggest kind of antisocial, you know what I mean, away from it. You're going, it's a life you chose. I feel for the Royals. They get so much grief, but they were born into it.
Oh,
they didn't choose
they didn't have a choice,
I chose this life.
Yeah.
So you try and normalise things as much as you can for your kids within it. That is my thing of going, I do this, but at home, I'm Michael Pennington, I'm your dad, I'm a pain in the ass, I'm going to nag you over this. It's your job, take the plates back, do you know what I mean, and do all that. Outside of that, I go to work, and I'm constantly wondering what his mates say to him at school about the Johnny Vegas aspect of what I present. You know, the other week, I'm eating a block of butter on telly. He's got to sit there going, that's my dad. That's my dad. And apparently, the mortgage in Richmond is killing him.
He's paid to eat butter.
Something sneaked out in the conversation. No, don't, that bedroom's safe as houses. He's got us. So, it's a balancing act, but it's not a balancing act in terms of the public. You just go, even by saying the public, folk are happy to see you doing what you do, and if you get resentful of being in this job and people being, you know what I mean, feeling that and there's levels of approachability. Actually, the fact that guy feels he can come up to you. I was out once with two actors, well, three, and myself, and the guy came over. There was a works party. He came over and he went, all right, it's Clive Russell, you know, the Scottish actor, the big guy. Yeah. So Paul Whitehouse, he went, can I get you a drink, mate? And then to me, he went, do you want to come over and have a drink with us? And Whitehouse straight away went, there's your levels of, as they say, accessibility. The shit scared of Clive, so they just nod. Yeah. They offer to send me a pint, but they immediately think that you're going to go over and drink with them.
Do you know what that happened to me? Why is that though? I tell you what. I go to Chelsea football every week, and as I was walking down the road, everyone like, oh, I love Joy, right, yeah, we'll have our soccer am days. And I remember one day I met up with some mates, and Damon Albarn was there, and I'm walking down the road with Damon Albarn. No one's saying anything to me, and I'm thinking, this is really weird that I've got all the way to the football. There was a few comments, but not a lot. You know, walking down the Fulham Road and all that sort of stuff. And they sort of later realised that Damon's really famous. So rather than go, oh, I love Joy, they're like, shit, there's Damon Albarn, he's really famous. And it's like, you know, I'm not famous enough, so
give him some.
Yeah, leave him alone. He's famous. Look, can't talk to him. Whereas Lovejoy, you can go do whatever you want with him.
Clive just looked so intimidating.
Oh, did
and
he?
Paul, it was like, obviously we love you, but we wouldn't want to impede on you. And with me, it was like, coming on our work stuff. Going, can't mate, I've got a night shoot. Damon Albarn, I'd Manchester International Festival. Yeah. I'd had a few. And I'd started learning cello. Yeah. I think I was halfway to going, you should put me in the show.
Put me in the band.
But I'd been talking to him for half an hour. Before Sean Ryder went, Johnny, he's not understood a word you've said for the last half hour. And you're laughing off and you go, yeah, whatever. And I turned around and I said something and Damon Albarn just went, but he said that and he going, he hadn't understood me. He'd just been nodding at me. Yeah. Whilst I'm trying to pitch myself as his next cellist.
You can't just throw that story in there. Like you're standing there with Sean Ryder and Damon Albarn.
Backstage after the first Gorillas. My son's got into the Gorillas, massive. And he will not accept that I've mixed in these. He's meeting his mate the other day anyway. I said, well, I'm going into town. I'll get the bus with you anyway. It's that heartbreaking day. He goes, do you mind getting the next one? And you go, I've just turned into... I might as well go out with a massive bird. Like that going, picking him up from school.
You do it, embarrassing.
I've become the Bernie Clifton of his teenage years.
When was it in your career that you felt you'd become part of the establishment, part of the comedy establishment?
See, that's really weird because I never did ostensibly, and when I went to Edinburgh, it was... I remember walking into the Pleasance Courtyard, and again, without repeating myself, but it wasn't... I was like a fanboy. It was like I had a stage pass. I walked in and I'm going, God, there's Stuart Lee, there's Richard Evan, there's the, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's the who's who. And they're all just sat around having pints like normal people. I was just... But in my head, I had Johnny going, we're not here to make friends. We're there to kick their ass. So it was a very different... So by day, I got to hang out and have conversations with people that I would just gobsmacked and sort of... I saw your series of... You know what I mean? I was a proper train spotter of comedy without realising it. I'd absorbed so much. But as a comic on the night, Johnny was like, all bets are off. Doesn't matter. How'd you like him? It's terrible. It's like the, True Romance, when he's in the bog on his own. Whenever he's in the toilet on his own, right, he sees Elvis and he has this conversation with Elvis. Yeah. And that's the closest I can compare it to is in that interim of being backstage and waiting to be announced on stage, it was like an argument with yourself where I'm going, yeah, but I really rate him. And he's going, oh, you really rate him? Do you? Oh, you're going to marry him? Oh, yeah. Have you heard his stuff on that? Yeah, that's not derivative, is it? And then it was like, and you're out. And it was like being put under. And Johnny go out and go, I'm not here to make friends. But Johnny was always devoted to the audience. That was his thing, that I've got to go. It wasn't arrogance. His thing was, your job is to do right by the audience, not to do right by comics that you want to be friends with. Which opens up another kind of worms of, I think we've got very safe within the industry of not criticising each other enough. The Comedy Awards used to be brilliant.
Yeah.
Because everybody used to rip into each other.
Yeah.
And now, it's God forbid, it's become quite a...
It's quite friendly, isn't it?
It's too friendly. It should be. We should be ripping bits out of each other. It's dead easy to rip bits out of... you can criticise Trump, you can criticise... there's so many things out there that are fish in a barrel. But if we can't rip into each other... That's what, for me, fundamentally, growing up was watching the Comedy Awards. Yeah. Was watching somebody hammered receive an award and tell somebody what they really thought of him.
But was that a nasty atmosphere, though, do you think, back then?
No, I don't think it was a nasty atmosphere. I think it was comics actually behaving on camera like they might do if they were going to do back in the green room. And then suddenly it became about, no, actually this award matters and what you say matters. I get invited on it every few years, and every few years I just go on and burn bridges.
Right.
Hasn't
the same thing happened in the music industry,
I don't apologise to Foster's. I still don't rate it as a lager. I don't care how much comedy they sponsor. You'll never have my creative hand in marriage.
Did you do that at the Comedy Awards?
I did. And to be honest...
I don't remember that. It was
a friend of a friend backstage going, you know what? They're trying to be all this, but they'll only always be Castlemen. It's still just a rubbish Aussie lager.
Don't you think it's happened in the music industry as well? Everyone's friends with each other. Since these sort of...
It's a social media thing that you can't be seen to disagree with.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest thing is that you reach a stage where you go, I might have creative differences with certain comics or how they go about their comic business. But my thing is, it's just not for me. My most probably overused phrase is, it wouldn't be my thing.
Right.
I might not necessarily have to call them out in public, but if it ever came down to it, you're going, it's very strange that who you call out, you can be seen as bitter, and you're going, it's not bitter. I had this argument with my agent years ago. I remember when, I'm not name dropping, when Al Muddy signed for Sky originally. Do you remember that series, The Pub Landlord?
Yeah.
And my agent was obsessed with what he might be getting paid and what he might be. And you're going... It's always tricky, this interview, but you're going... As far as Johnny's concerned, I don't give a monkey's what he's being paid. You know what I mean? I don't care why are you obsessing over him when your job is to look after me?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you should be getting that, and you should be... And you're going... But if you judge your own career, if you start to see yourself as a failure because of somebody else's success, you're going to wither and die.
Yeah.
You can't do that. What you do is you go, we're doing what we're doing. Are we bringing money in? Yeah. Are we paying bills? Yeah. Then what we're doing is what we do. And let's do what we do best. Rather than obsessing over what other people do. The dog disagrees.
The dog disagrees. Where are you in the great scheme?
Sorry, I'm being very earnest.
No, it's good. Where are you?
Let's talk about some Meccano. There's not enough of it.
I don't like those.
I mean, I'm a Lego man, but Meccano's good. It's good to throw it into the mix.
That's just the one thing I hate about toys is the ones where you have to build stuff.
Really?
I can't stand that.
Oh, mate, I love
I
it.
really don't like it. I just,
You just want it out the box.
It
Do you
just,
cry when it has too many plastic clips holding it in?
it just frustrates. All those things frustrate me. I like a jigsaw. I've been doing a lot of jigsaws recently.
So you don't like toys that need to be built, but you love jigsaws?
Yeah.
There's a juxtaposition. If
I wouldn't survive in St Helens, would I?
1,000 piecer.
I've never tried
Pure
that
blue
much.
sky.
I'm basically on about doing about 12-piece ones at the moment, with unicorns on them.
Tell me you've been presented with one of them jigsaws where the family's decided, wouldn't it be lovely if we put his face on the jigsaw, and they've chose the worst picture ever of you.
No, I haven't had one of those yet.
Oh, I'm going to get you one of them. Well, I'm going to get you one of them for the beer.
Oh,
the beer champagne.
We could open the beer champagne soon. I think it would be.
But do you know this? Don't you find it mad with podcasts where you go, it's always lovely to have this time to talk, but I'm always like really aware of not being too self-indulgent and going, well, I think this, and
I think people like to
and
hear
I
your
think
opinion
this.
because otherwise they never get to. If you do say you come on Sunday brunch as a guest or you're presenting it, I get you.
It's over like that, isn't
6 minutes of 8 minutes. You know what it's like. You know you don't stick to those rules when you present it. You go on forever.
you know, I'm not being funny. All right.
Why the producers are just.
I'm
ripping
not
up
a natural born presenter.
No, you're brilliant. The producer ripping up the running order. When I had my backup and you were on it, I was laughing so much because usually when you're on it, I'm on holiday, so I don't bother watching. And I was sitting at home and I'm laughing so much because Simon's trying to finish an interview and you're just going on and on and on, and you can just tell the producers are going, "Oh my, where are we going to get this time back from?" Yeah. It's really funny.
You've just lost us 40 grand in advertising.
It's just brilliant. You just keep going. It's fantastic. It's a good watch.
It would be a rubber bat or something, you know what I mean, without being too Vic and Bob. It's not my it's not my natural state. And
no, you're
it's
brilliant.
It's good fun for once in a while.
No, it's your natural state because I can't imagine you've done one comedy show which is the same as another one ever in your life, because that's not how you act, is it? You don't go, right, I'm just gonna here's my lines and this is it. I start and I finish. You go and you just come from the heart always.
I'm very lucky as time's gone on. There's producers of certain shows where they go, look, some comics want to prep. Do you know what I mean? They want to write the gags, and they go. I do honestly. I think if I do panel show stuff, or if I go on brunch or anything, you go. It's not that I'm representing, and it's not earnest about. You just go. I'm the lad who's almost won a competition to be on the panel, but shouldn't be there, and it's kind of going. Hang on, I've got a question. It's that, you know what I mean? Oh. It's the overexcited, We did, oh God, you know, years ago, my family come down. It was a Celebrity Family Fortunes.
Oh, how was
and
that?
I was like, I put it to the family going, I don't think it's a good idea. And they were like, yes, we're in, we'll do it. The local coach firm did a Vegas bus. So the family pulled up, 7 people on a 53-seater. The massive banner, and you go into, but they came into the studio and you go, it's easy to forget without sounding smug that you work in TV.
Yeah.
Your family come in and it's amazing to them.
Yeah.
And it was a really good pullback to going, just how lucky you are to be doing, you know what I mean, what you're doing, until your dad goes, name something you'd bite and not swallow. And my dad said a towel.
Was he being funny or was that his answer? That's a great answer.
It wouldn't have been as disturbing had he not said it with 100% conviction. A towel. Name a celebrity with ginger hair. And this, we went out on this one. My brother went, Nigel Mansell. And my mum, who had volunteered not to join the panel. I mean, God, Mark, if you're out there, I love you. My brother lives with mum and dad, and he won a hot tub, and it wouldn't fit in the back garden.
Oh, that's brilliant.
My sister Catherine and brother-in-law John won flights to Vegas, and then had a big argument with the production company because they were trying to sell them because there was a big boxing match and people were offering 3 times the price. Then they couldn't switch the flights. We were like the Clampets.
Oh, that's fine.
Whatever we won,
That is fine.
we were just offloaded straight after the show. It was after an hot tub.
Did you win? Did you win the thing?
If
or
we'd
not?
have put it in the back garden.
Who were you up against? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was a lass from EastEnders, and her dad was brilliant, but he made his money in diamonds. And you're going, all right, in South Africa, and you're going, okay, step away. My brother emptied 4 rooms worth of minibars. We literally dragged him out of the hotel, going, I hope you've enjoyed your stay. It was.
You just mentioned a few minutes ago
Let me tell you a story about a man named Johnny.
about Vic and Bob. You did Shooting Stars, which is my favourite all-time TV show. And I did Series 7, Episode 5. And that was seriously, it was the best thing I've ever done.
Isn't it?
They're just so brilliant. You weren't in that series. It was Andrew
That's what made it perfect.
No, I loved you on it. But it was brilliant, wasn't it? The way they just didn't seem to effortlessly put that show together. But when you did it, that must have been just a dream job, was it? To just sit there and just...
I went through, without being smug, I had a couple of years where my first acting job, first proper acting job was Happiness with Paul Whitehouse.
Yeah, very good.
And I was... You know,
I thought Ideal was your first.
There were two pivots. I mean, there was so much stuff I was watching. Larry Sanders, you know what I mean? Remains to this day my favourite ever sitcom.
Right.
But I was watching, but you're going, within a space of a year or so, I was working on Happiness with Paul Whitehouse, and you're going, the Fast Show was just my mecca of comedy. It was just perfect, and it had all the best. And then being on Shooting Stars with Rick and Bob, it was one of the only shows, honestly, that I used to leave the student union and we weren't allowed tellies in our room, you know, and go to the communal TV room. And it was an happening. It was an event. Vic Reeves' big night out was, I've always said, was our Python.
Yeah.
And you and my mum and dad would hate it. They wouldn't understand it.
That's it, yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're going, and this is... I went and... I got off my arse. I'm terrible at going seeing live stuff, but I went and watched them on the Brown tour. And Tommy Cockles got into an argument because they were talking sort of the break. Because Simon Day come on, and that was a brilliant character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was innately. I knew the good stuff and the bad stuff. And he came on, and I was really annoyed at the time that night that people weren't taking on board. This bloke talking about Elvis coming to England, crying, laughing, and people just didn't care. And you're going, this is... God, it just worked. It fitted everything. You're going, got the sensibility. I got the... You watch somebody like Simon Day. I mean, Vic and Bob just remain... They're up there. They'll always be up there. But Simon Day was one of them where you're going, don't be afraid of the sign. You know what I mean? Create a character that's fully fleshed out where it doesn't have to have gags. The character within itself is hilarious. So suddenly I'm on a show with him and you're going, if it ends now, honest to God, I had a point in my life when I'm going, if a bus hits me tomorrow, I'm working with Paul Whitehouse, and then once a week I go in and I do the show where Bob sends me up to the bar to have a few drinks and calls it rehearsals. And Bob's working beer was Skol Lager.
Skol.
Which I didn't know you could even get it.
No, you
and
can't
he
get that
went,
anymore.
no, it's a good working lager, it doesn't mess your head up. So we had Skol under the desk. It's the first time I arrived, he went, will you be drinking? And I went, oh, I thought it was one of these, you know, my reputation precedes myself. And he went, because we will. And that was it. Unless there was something technical like Jeff Capes, you know, and the exploding.
Yeah.
It was something that health and safety. They didn't want us to rehearse. They just brought us down. And you know yourself, that much of it makes it into the show. The stuff that doesn't make it in.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Every week.
When I was the most
crying, laughing.
I was so excited when I got my agent at the time said Shooting Stars have asked you to come on as a guest, and I could not believe it. I was like, yes, go back and say yes now. Make sure I get it on. And when I got on, and they did 2 or 3 gags with me, and they actually used me in the gags, and I was like, I can't believe they're using me. This is amazing. True or false, Tim? No man has ever enjoyed a family holiday. Tim, who do you support? I support Chelsea. Oh, do you? We support underprivileged children. It was just all stuff like that all the way through. But they just kept coming to me because I kept just trying to join in. Like, I want to join in. Oh, it was absolutely brilliant. I
think my highlight was sitting next to Laddie Agman. Who amazing. Actually, I think they were really unfair in the edit. Laddie Agman kicked their ass.
Really?
I would say to this day, Laddie Agman totally got it, was dry as hell, and they edited it to make him look more confused than he was. He came on all guns blazing.
Did he?
Oh God, yeah. It was almost like if Vic and Bob was some kind of airborne disease. And you're going, we've tried everything. We've tried modern antibiotics. We've tried. And they're going, have you tried Laddie Hagman? But sitting next to him, and I did actually do my version of dressing up because I wanted to impress him. He signed a box of chocolates for my mum.
Nice.
And there was a point where every time I turned to talk to him, he just did this genuine sort of... I think he thought, again, I'd won a competition.
How did you feel when you got that call, though, to say that was what you were going to do? You were going to sit there without a script, no job, just sit.
I did the live one, and Bob said,
drink.
go and do a Bonnie Tyler impression. He went, Johnny, you told me not like that. And he the live show was quite scripted, and it was quite a surprise to me.
Right.
I thought it'd be a lot more freewheeling, and it was a joint show. It was a fast show. And the Vic and Bob tour, they did one together. So again, you're going backstage with.
Yeah.
And I went off script, and it was very strange. And I'd met Bob. Like Vic I love Vic to bits, but the first 2 times I met Vic, he never spoke to me, and I had a sense that I'd offended him. And he did this talk show. You know when TV first went digital and there was other channels? He had Rabbit Cam, where he basically interviewed you. There was a rabbit with a camera just absolutely bizarre. And I'm like, he's going to get me on and not talk to me. I think it's a wind up. I don't, have I offended him in a previous life or something? And I didn't. I did the show with him, which he still owes me a painting for. And then we did that live show, and he didn't talk to me. Stood there talking to Bob, and Bob, I think Bob's it should be a medical affliction. I know, the fishing show. Yeah. Bob's got a heart condition. Yeah. But Bob Mortimer could give you the worst news ever. And when he's sincere, the more sincere he gets, the more you want to laugh. Johnny, I've found blood in my urine. And I'd laugh at him. He can't. He goes, no, Johnny, really.
He's so good.
Really serious. Yeah. You go, I cannot take you at any sincere level. And it's almost verges on kind of verbal disability that Bob can't do sincerity without triggering something in me that wants to laugh at him or with him.
He's so clever. He's well, both Vic and Bob are. Their brains are amazing.
I love them comics who create that universe where you go, you're either in or you're out. Yeah. You know what I mean? But when you step inside, don't step in and question it. Step in and love it.
But what I like about I'm gonna blow smoke up you now, but also Bob and Vic and people like you guys who are naturally funny is you don't know what's going to come out of you. You don't know what you're going to say, and you don't know what's going on in your brain. There's a lot of other comics. no disrespect to them, because they make a great living and they do all that, but sometimes you think, yeah, I can see the gags coming, I know what's happening, I can see the way you're working it. Whereas, I mean, I had Bob Mortimer on, we had him on Sunday Brunch the other day, and this woman was making like a dip, and she'd made out of nettles, and you could just see his eyes going, and he waited for a break, and he went, can you make this? And he started laughing to himself. He could, can you make this with anything that stings? Could you make it with wasps? And you're just like, you're like, he just sat there, and White House was on the same show, and they're both stood there, and I'm thinking, I can't believe White House and Bob Mortimer, Paul Whitehouse, Bob Mortimer, are on the same show here. It's like my dream come true. It's just so funny. But it's just that idea.
It's his sincerity as well of how he delivers it, innit? You know, he's going...
But he starts laughing.
I'm not taking the mickey, but...
And he sometimes does the worst jokes, but because he laughs at them. What was the joke he did when I watched him the other day? They did us like a screening of his fishing thing, and I went to it, luckily. And Charlie Hickson was interviewing them. It was just really funny. And Bob Mortimer he goes, see, Paul Whitehouse, he's got a heart of a lion and a life banned from his local zoo. And then just started laughing to himself and then carried on. It's just like he just throws shit gags in like that, which are really, I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what?
I've
always said my favourite comics and the people I've found myself drawn to. There's brilliant gag writers, there's brilliant all that. But they are fundamentally people that would be talking to themselves at a bus stop if they weren't on stage. And that either scares you, you know, you walk on to the next stop, or you sit there and go, I want to know what is engaging that person so much, I want in. And they were the absolute... And they were really, really, you know, not that you go... Really good, like Paul and Dave Cummins, who wrote with them a lot, were really good to me starting out. You know, coming to live shows in London, there was people that you felt like were championing something that maybe wouldn't. A bit like the Rugby League. I always get that where they go, how'd you find gigging in London? You go, never found it a problem. It's not a north-south thing. It's just that some clubs, people go in there with a sense of privilege where they think, I'm allowed to heckle because I paid a ticket and you have to put up with it. And you go, I don't have to put up with it. You've just called my mum a certain name, and if this was any other environment, this would end differently. But now I'm going to deconstruct your life in front of you. And I'm going to take 20 minutes to do it. And it's, you know, the bit where they're going, no, shut up now. And you go, no, you started this. But there's a night and there's certain people, and it shouldn't be any different to anybody else. But I think White House, Sean Locke.
Oh, he's brilliant.
And Simon thinking, Dr. Martin. Sorry, that's terrible. What's his name? Martin Clunes.
Yeah.
Would come to gigs, and they'd come a couple of times, and I would be doing something where the room had just gone, I think this man needs an intervention. And you'd hear one of them laugh in the back of the room, and you go, no, it's right. Power on through with what you know what I mean, what you're doing. If they're laughing, I know it's Johnny knew it was the right sort of.
It was happening. I've got a funny feeling that Sean Locke thinks I'm a bit weird because I think he's amazing, and I think I is it fanboy, the latest expression people say, and I think. Because I'm always like, because he's sitcom. Did you ever see 15 Stories?
Oh, it's one of the best.
It's unbelievable.
He's up there with.
It is unbelievable that.
Even with the language, with anything.
It is so good.
You know what? The one thing with my son, where you go, he's going through his mock exams now, and you're going, whatever, academically, wherever you place him, he's got a really sophisticated appreciation of comedy.
Right.
We have, and you know, they're going, oh, should we be watching that when he's 14? You go, I don't care. We've watched 15 Stories.
Yeah.
We've if it was a record, we've rinsed it.
Yeah.
And he loves it. And you go, elements of that.
It's unbelievable.
It was like a sketch.
Yeah, it's
if
unbelievable.
How do you reimagine a sketch show? And you go,
that's it. Yeah,
that's what they did.
It's incredible.
The one with the woman dancing in front of the video, diddle-in, diddle-in,
There's
diddle-in,
so
diddle-in. You know, with the
many.
guy just sitting there going.
The boy band sketch, which Sean's not in, but that's
Yeah.
Peter Serafinovich or whatever, isn't it? I think. And I used to go to him about the rat juice, and all that sort of stuff. And he I think he sort of looked at me like, you just like me a bit too much. So I don't know. But if you haven't seen 15 Stories, go on YouTube and start watching it. It is unbelievably
I went
good.
in and read for the part of his flatmate.
Right, played
And
by
Benny Wong.
yeah, he's brilliant. Who I also
Who
he
was the
great.
right man for the part.
And I hassled him once on a night out when I met him and go,
No,
I
but,
love
no,
it, I
no,
love
but
it, I love it."
you should.
They put that all over the schedule. They mucked that show up because
They didn't know what to do with
kept
something
on
that was
so good.
You know what? How many times, I'm not being funny, he's like, you don't want to be it's like the know-it-all in a music shop, but you're going, the stuff that comics are telling you is a good stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
They scatter it to the four corners of the because they don't get it, and when they don't get it, they don't want it to take hold, because then they might have to produce another show that copies something that they don't understand, and you're going, it's genius.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
It's stone cold
Such a good one.
genius.
Right, I'm conscious
It's
of
a plough.
a plough. That is that is brilliant. when he phones the pub up to say he took the plough home. It's so good. Oh, he's so good. Oh, unbelievable.
But do you know how rewarding it is to sit with your own son? We're sitting there going,
brilliant.
We're working our way through Arrested Development.
Really?
And he's loving it. He's just.
So I'm a massive fan of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and one day I said to one of my daughters, she goes, I'm looking for something to watch. I said, come and sit and watch this with me. And she's now watched every episode throughout all this. I think, and I'm like, it's so good that we can discuss Always Sunny, even though it's quite vulgar in places and quite crude. Now I'm conscious we're running out of time, and I really want to just talk to you about one more thing, which is acting, because it's become quite a big thing in your life. You've gone from your jobs you did previously, then into comedy, and now you've moved into acting. And it's what's intriguing is you went into sort of the comedy style thing, and now you're doing some more serious stuff as well. Does it come naturally to you? Do you enjoy it? Is it?
I'll tell you what it is. It is. God, it's all gonna get thespian now.
Come on, let's do it.
This is when the hate mail kicks in.
Let's do it. Remember your roots, Johnny.
I think as I'm getting older, I want to investigate more mature themes. Not that comedy isn't mature in any way, because Johnny has always gone for the deepest, darkest stuff. But I've never felt confident as an actor, and if I'm quite honest, I act because it's just something that I've sort of drifted into. But in a room, I always feel like a kid who went to a state school, stood in a room with prep school students, and that's no fault of anybody who's gone to drama school. I've never felt like I belonged, but it's something that I want to continue working at, and I want to do drama, and I want to do it just to sort of get into it. But directing is the one thing. As Michael Pennington, it's the one thing that I feel as confident as Johnny Vegas feels about stand-up. It's the one thing that I walk in a room and I go, I don't care. This is my opinion.
What have you done? What have you directed? I know you directed Paul Heaton's video. What else? What other things have you done?
I did a Billy Bragg video. I've done a Moving On. I've done 2 Moving Ons. I did a piece with Ricky Tomlinson.
Cool.
With Stephen Walters playing the young Ricky Tomlinson when he was doing his hunger strike.
Right.
Doing his hunger strike. On hunger strike. He was doing his hunger strike.
Doing his hunger
strike. Make it sound
strike.
like community service. God almighty.
When?
And I just, I've always felt like, well, I'm nervous and I don't belong here, and it's not and I've had just bad experiences of nerves getting in the way of. But my thing with acting, as opposed to stand-up and Johnny, is there is alcohol involved with Johnny, and there is a thing of the way you build yourself up to live performance. When I started acting, I made a very clear decision that it's Michael Pennington turning up to do the job, not Johnny.
I was just going to ask you that. Okay, so that's interesting. It's a different.
And
So then are you nervous?
Yeah, I'm not going to put vodka on my cornflakes because I'm turning up at a new. But on acting gigs, as you work over the years, it's like every day is like starting a new skill. It's like your dad works for the armed forces.
Right.
And you move from gig to, you know what I mean? New job, where everybody seems to know each other and you don't. And you're the interloper because you've come from stand-up. And I had a really bad experience on Bleak House once. And the lad, I don't know if he's working since, I don't know, but this really young actor, straight out of drama school, first day, convinced myself I didn't know the lines. I'd learnt them back to front. And it was just horrendous, it wasn't working. And I had this lad, and he said it loud enough so everyone could hear it anyway. Well, there you go, that's a problem when you hire a comic to do an actor's job.
Oh.
And it broke me. It absolutely destroyed me.
That's terrible.
It was horrible. Totally unnecessary. It was obvious I was struggling. But there's no point when they're going, and 3, 2, 1, and your brain's going, you don't know it. You're gonna get it wrong again. And at one point I looked at the window and I thought, you know what? Why not just turn it into a great story? I was gonna climb out this window and run off across the roof and just leave them with everyone dressed up. I'm out of here, suckers. I am not a crook.
But do you feel
like it? And now but now directing, I realise every actor's nervous. Every actor's like this. Actually, it's not unique to you because you haven't trained. The joy with directing is like, get the right technical people in. They make you look amazing. I've worked with first-time directors who take everything on board and then they hit a meltdown. Then they end up bollocking the people who are actually trying to help them. Let them do their job and have your time on stage, on set with the actors, and get them to that point where they're enjoying the performance. Yeah. And because I've been there, I can never give the performance that the actors that I'm working with can give. I know where my limitations are within stand-up, within acting. Stand-up, Johnny would say there's absolutely no limitations. Very excited, by the way. Johnny has a new idea.
Which is?
I had a bet with a friend years ago. And he's taken it on board and he's run with it. And it was that if everything went wrong here, I'm going to take Johnny to the States. And in a year, as a preacher, I can guarantee you he could be a millionaire.
You're going to do the old
Johnny
on TV.
No, Johnny Vegas is going into
Johnny Vegas is
Johnny
going to.
Vegas has found
amazing.
religion.
Have you seen that video of the two guys, the two preachers justifying their private jets?
No,
I'll send it to you. It's absolutely brilliant. And they're
He's not
going.
going to keep the money, but he wants to go and just prove
How much money
it can be
make?
done. Yeah,
Do you still know a lot about religion?
I know enough to make $1 million.
Are you religious? It's in his. I don't want to be down on religion, but it's religion's an insurance policy, isn't it?
You think of religion and stand-up and preaching.
Similar, yeah.
So similar.
The problem with religion is the bit I don't get, because I'm not religious. I don't.
No, it feels like pure manipulation.
But it's not. It's not the bit where you're going. They're not. I could have this so wrong, but often they're not selling it on what the good things are going to happen. Often it's sold on, but if you don't, then bad stuff's going to happen. It's like insurance. If you don't, then you know.
Yeah, but I'm up for it. That's what I said in the book. It was this thing of going, we want your soul and we want this, and you're going, no, but if I give it to you, look at what you've done with everybody else's. You've messed them up. You know what? I don't need you as a middleman. Whether I'm considered religious or not, I have a monologue I argue with someone up there.
Do you?
I don't know who I argue with. Yeah, I do.
Maybe that's
I was
what
angry
I need.
when I asked me done stuff, and I talk, and I do it. But you go, I've got to be very careful here. I have a local priest who I have massive respect for, and one who I have zero respect for. And you go, if the church is going to tell me that my only way to get to God is through him, No, it's not.
Yeah.
I'll talk to him myself.
Yeah.
And he knows what's right and wrong. I have a fundamental problem with confession. If you can go every week and get absolved, you don't learn from your sins, do you? Learn from your mistakes. That's a fundamental part of life. If you can get somebody to sit in a box and tell you that it's all right, it's been wiped away, how do you learn not to do it again?
I don't understand it at all. Right, listen, Johnny.
I'm glad we could end on a high note.
No, we're not ending yet because I've got to ask you my questions I ask everybody, and I've just added a question today earlier because we had a mate of yours on, Gizzy.
All right.
Asking
Can I have a glass of my beer?
Yeah.
I want to sample that live on.
Jen, could you do it for us while I ask the question? Hold on a second.
4 glasses, because
You can stand here and do this.
it's a nice kitchen, by the way.
Thank you,
I'm looking at doing it out in this colour.
White.
The one down here. No, the slate grey. Tim, slate grey works for everything.
So Gizzy was.
It looks like a kitchen that's ready for a scene from 50 Shades of, doesn't it?
So Gizzy, when she was younger, was a something. She was a psychobilly, and I've just started thinking. Did you identify as anything when you were growing up? A skinhead, a mod, a goth?
I wanted to be a mod. I desperately wanted to be a mod. Unfortunately, all that was available, because I wanted the proper Parker.
Terrible pour there, Jen. That's better.
Oh, that's
better. Yeah, go on. You couldn't afford the Parker, did you say? I was busy
yeah, no,
watching.
I set up a business idea of doing handwritten business cards. To try and pay for my first Parker.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I did, because I wanted proper. Do you know what I mean? Proper fish. Not just something with a hood on. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. And I know, in handwriting, not even in block capitals.
So this.
And then I tried making mod ties, you know, the dead narrow ones, but cutting up bits of my sister's skirts that she didn't know I'd taken. I thought they were zany, and then you got mods out of zany. I tried loads of stuff, but the only thing available via Burton's was New Romantic.
So were you a new romantic? No, you were not.
I was a bit of a new romantic.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh, Johnny, that's fantastic.
My sister came back from fashion college, and bought us all shirts, right? And it was this designer, and we should have been more grateful. And we'd never seen shirts that button like it. My brother's shirt, the buttons went off to one side, you know, to there.
Yeah. They went off an angle.
Because he was a drinker, everyone just thought he tucked his shirt in wrong. And he wore it to this day, and everybody kept trying to move his shirt. And you're like, no, it's meant to button down to the hip.
Right, so Johnny the mod, who ended up as let's try this.
Oh, I wanted to be a mod, and I did a gig for somebody, and he paid me with a scooter, Darryl Martin. I had one go of it, and I had to part Volvo. Went into the rear, you know, windscreen, and vowed never again. So I'll always be a mod. In my heart, I'm a mod.
Up the mods. Right, using 100% British barley, this beer is matured in the bottle before being riddled and
That's like a staff party. Did somebody get sacked?
disgorged using traditional method to remove the yeast sediment. Okay, so let's try.
So it's a beer?
I don't know, it's a beer or a... It's a sparkling beer brew. Oh, I quite like that. 10.5% though.
Oh, it's
quite strong though, isn't it?
It's fruity.
Do you like that?
It's a 10.5. Yeah. I like the. Am I allowed to say Guinness?
Yeah.
I like the Guinness export.
Do you? I like Guinness. Mark likes beer. Mark, what do you think of this one?
I'm enjoying that. Yeah, it's quite sharp.
Oh.
What would be your You know what? I was out with my son the other day, and a gang of ladies invited me over, going, "We're having a drink over there." You know, in the playground, and you go, "There's trouble." Why not come and sit with us? And they're all drinking in the summer sun, and you're going, too much, ha ha. Pretty soon, boo hoo. I'm staying clear.
This is strange.
Do you know what it tastes like? It tastes like a Belgian beer.
Yes.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. Jen, what do you think? she says it's all right.
I think if anybody, you know what I mean, it's one of them. That is a fine wine to be served at a rugby player's wedding. As a toast, isn't it? You know
Rugby League.
It's got the right colour.
Rugby League. Tight
No,
shorts.
any rugby.
Nah.
League or the...
Sod
or
Union.
the slow one.
Right, what one piece of advice would you like to give our listeners that has been invaluable to your life?
One that my dad imparted on me.
Go on.
Don't let them steal your calm.
Oh, I like that.
It was a thing of going, it doesn't matter what they write, what they do, whatever. Are you happy within yourself? Don't let them steal your calm.
Because with all the praise, you must have had a lot of criticism as well.
Yeah.
Because your act's quite out there. People like us love you.
Oh.
But there must be some people who just...
You're always in the firing line.
The Liverpool
You
Echo.
know that. And you're not... Hey, I got booed off playing my nose on the... I got booed off playing the Eggs on Legs Roadshow talent competition for Big Breakfast.
Yes.
I actually thought Chris Evans had gone and they were going for a left field choice. I thought they wanted me as presenter. He said to me, don't look too professional. It's meant to be an amateur competition. I'm on the phone in Glasgow going, I play me nose. How much work do you think is out there? And then I got really bitchy with a 7-year-old lad who won it, an amateur magician. And he went, look, the page is coloured in. I went, it's a different page. Because it was a free trip to London.
Hold on,
I could have like booked a couple of gigs in while I was...
Were you famous by then or not?
No,
Yeah. Oh,
no,
right.
no.
You were just doing Johnny...
Check it out.
Johnny
Have you not
Vegas.
seen the Before They Were Famous clip of me on Win, Lose or Draw?
Yeah, I have. That's brilliant.
Just like Millie Tantard of his.
Where did you get the
For
name?
1 year, M&S produced these shirts that came with a waistcoat that was knitted. And I wore it, and then I had these undersized tracky bottoms and mini Doc Martens.
I do remember it. Yeah.
Like a feminist.
Yeah. All right. What's...
3 men touched me up.
Why did... Because you talked on that show about being
Going, I can turn you.
Johnny Vegas, didn't you?
Pardon?
You talked on that show about being Johnny Vegas, didn't you? On
Oh,
Windows or Jaw.
don't. Yeah, no.
What was your... Why did you choose... Why did you choose
No, I
Johnny?
know. Listen, it wakes, once a week I wake up going,
Why
but
did
you're not just a potter, are you? And you go, no, Bob, one day I'd like to be a comedian, like,
Why did you
And I
choose...
believe you have a catchphrase. It's not a night out, it's a memory.
Ah, that's a good catchphrase. I like it. Don't look at me like
Come
that.
and as a campfire, come and be warm.
Why did you choose Johnny Vegas?
It was Jimmy Nevada originally, and it was based on Jimmy Nevada and the it was Jimmy and the Gamblers from the Grease, the film, the band.
Right.
I think it was no.
What?
No, not Jimmy. Jimmy Nevada's the name. When people go, it's Johnny Vegas, your real name. Quite often I go, no, it's not. And they go, oh, what's your real name? And I go, Jimmy Nevada. And they go, oh, right, yeah, it makes sense. Who'd be called Johnny Vegas if they're from Thatterweath, St. Helens?
Yeah.
Genuinely. No, it was Johnny Casino was the band in Greece.
Ah, right.
Who
Yeah.
played at the high school dance.
Right.
And we called it Johnny Casino, or took it on as a temporary stage name. Then me and my mate Brian went out one night, had a big night, woke up, can't remember why, but he decided it should be Johnny Vegas, it shouldn't be so derivative.
Ah.
Years later, the pub that we worked in, these girls came in and went, oh, we went out, you're that bloke, that Jimmy, Johnny, da-da. And they went out the night when I launched myself as Johnny Vegas. And we were like, look, when we finish your shift, will you tell us, we don't actually know how we came up with Johnny Vegas. And they went, oh no, we were sat with you for ages. And then we got that drunk again, we couldn't remember. We sat with them and they told us how. So, without being, it's lost in time.
Right.
It started out with Johnny Casino, it ended up Johnny Vegas.
Great name, though.
It is, isn't
Right.
it? It needed it. If you've got a perm and flares, you've got to have a big handbag. Something has to say, this man has been sacked from a cruise ship.
It's just brilliant. Right. What is the biggest mistake you've made?
Oh, God. What, without getting personal?
Do you know what? We could probably leave that at you.
No, it's all right. The biggest
on stage.
mistake I made was not doing art at O level.
What?
Not doing art at O level.
Why?
I got talked out of it. I'd have been ahead of the pack. I joined it in A-level and I was like a newbie.
Any life hacks?
Eddie?
Life hacks, maybe travel tips. Suggs's was always go to the toilet. But when you leave a pub, doesn't matter how many beers you've had, what you've been, always go to the toilet before you leave.
All right, well, build it on from Suggs. Any man who shouts at you with his arms open doesn't want to fight you. Any man who just watches you after 3 pints constantly, pretend you go in the bog and leave by another door. Because that man wants to hurt you against a skip.
I just remembered something. Chris Evans taught me once how to, if someone's boring you in a pub, but it's different if you're sitting down with all your mates, but how to, this is not going to work in the audio version, but he said what you do is
yeah,
you
don't
just,
wrap it up with this because it'll make it sound like I'm just coming to your kitchen.
what you do is you look over the person's shoulder and you just look quizzically, and then you go, excuse me one moment, and then just walk.
No.
And then they always think, Jesus, something exciting must have happened over there. He's got to leave.
No. Have you never had that up in Edinburgh? That's the Edinburgh stir. You're talking to someone and they go, yeah, hi. And their hand goes on your shoulder and they just move around and somebody more important's come in the room. I've been on two red carpets in front of Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah.
And that thing of going, Johnny. And they get you. And then he finishes the interview and they go, Johnny. Fuck off.
Tom Cruise is here.
Sorry. He's like, they just push you and they go, Tom Cruise is next.
No,
and you just become this buffer of going...
Yeah, no, but in fairness, Chris wasn't doing it in like there's another person in the room that's more important. It was like, no, there's something really serious going on here. I need to go and sort it out. Do you know what? I've used it a few times. It works.
Honestly, if I tried that in St. Helens, somebody would go over and hit someone randomly, thinking that I was being threatened. It won't work for me, that.
Okay, final few questions. What's it like being famous?
It's a byproduct. It's a job. Like I said to my L6 form, it's bizarre. It comes with loads of benefits. It's a good life. But it asks a lot and it takes a lot and it's very draining on relationships and things. You do ostensibly belong to the public in some ways. In other ways, you have to fight really hard to retain.
You do. You definitely do. And as you said earlier, it's because you are on our side when we're watching. That's how you do it. That's how you pitch it. That's how we feel. So you're ours, and that's how I think it
well,
is.
That's a very astute response. It's something odd. It's something I think you don't want to get into that paranoia of it's going to end.
Yeah.
You know, like that fear of gathering to me what is mine. But there is an element of there by the grace of when you're doing the job you do. I love the job. A couple of years ago, without being boring, was the first time I was studying B&Q.
Yeah.
And I was going, you know what, for the amount of time it's going to take for me to do this, I'm going to get a lad in to paint that wall because I'm rubbish.
Yeah.
And I'll go over the lines and then I'll have an OCD weep and then I'll masturbate angrily. So I'll get someone in to do it. And then you're going, oh, I'll get someone in. Oh, look at Mr. And I just had that balance people going, it's better him doing it than the time, your time that you devote to. You have options with this job. I have options.
But that's life. Money. That's not.
My mum and dad never had options, and I'm always eternally grateful that if there's an issue, it can be solved. Okay. So when somebody comes up and approaches you, just be grateful that you're not. You know what I mean? I've done the worst jobs. I've crawled under a floor where they cleared asbestos, lagging pipes. I've done all sorts. So.
All right, well, last question. You should be able to...
Oh, should I just mislead kids? It's great! Don't do exams. Exams are for suckers.
What?
White lines, visions, dreams of passion.
No. What's the... This is a good question for you, actually, because you've had an interesting time in your life with tasting religion and also your sort of I'm trying to think of the way. I was going to use the word schizophrenic, and then I just thought that's probably a really bad thing to use with you and Johnny.
It's
but that's
not.
probably really,
I know
really
where you're going.
bad.
I think I know where you're going with this.
What is the meaning of life?
Oh God. Do you know what? I wish I hadn't watched Spinal Tap a week ago. With Michael, where you go, have a good time. I think the meaning of life, it's very... I don't think I'll know the meaning of life until I draw my last breath. I don't, because it constantly confounds me. And at times I try to remove myself from life to try and get an idea of what it's about. Wasp.
Fly.
Back of the head.
But there you go.
Oh, that was a wasp. There was yellow in that. Yeah. Don't make me out to be dramatic. So I can't say for myself. In the meantime, I think the meaning of life is we're all dragging demons around. I think it's, a therapist would say this is the worst answer ever, but it's how you contain or deal with your own stuff whilst enriching the lives of those around you.
I like it.
I think that's the meaning of life.
All right, so finally, because you've been on the journey...
But if I was in quicksand, I'd grab your ankle and drag you down with me. Emotional or literal.
Is there an afterlife?
You're going to make me cry. I don't know. I've had the toughest year. I've lost my dad. He's the most important. I think the biggest thing that's happened to me in adulthood. And part of me has had to let go, which is accepting that he's gone. Part of me can't accept that he's gone. I don't know if I believe in it. I don't want to believe in it for selfish reasons. But I look at a man who's gone, and I look at my kids growing up, and you're going, part of me wants there to be something. The cynic in me won't allow me to believe in it. But I want to find something that I can pass on to them, that my dad tried to pass on to me. I do believe my dad's in heaven. I just don't think I'm allowed to talk to him because I haven't lived the right life. But I miss him.
It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a lovely beer. Thinking though, isn't it? Jesus, don't. No, it is. It's been a question that I thought I'd resolved. And it's come back. And it's now, is he gone? Is he gone or is he not? Do you want to believe that he's still here? Are you doing it for your own purpose? Or are you doing...
I lost my brother, and it's a terrible thing because you spend a lot of time hoping there's something more, but then thinking, I don't know whether there is or there isn't. But this is...
The other week, I put a poem out on Father's Day that I'd written on his anniversary going, if there is or there isn't, I've got to let you go. Because every day it's clouding every other issue and it's not what you'd want. I'm taking you into every meeting I'm having, I'm taking you into every moment, and I'm using it as an excuse. Not an excuse, but it's clouding all the stuff I'm going, I can't get on with being a good dad myself because I'm obsessing over you. And I had to sit down and have a really earnest chat with my son going, I've had a year where I've not been in the room with you. I've been with you, but I've been staring into space. And it's only now that I can actually go, it's because I've missed him. I've missed him. Rather selfishly, I've missed him. But what good would it do him if I wallow in that?
Do you know what I've learned about you today, Johnny, is throughout this whole hour and 45 minutes or something we've been doing, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, by the way. I love your company. But what I've learned, I think, about you today is, I feel like Jerry Springer, doing his roundup. How much you care about your relationships in your family, what you're like as a dad, and you've just mentioned your dad and stuff like that. I think that's really poignant, and I think we can get lost in our industry, but it's really important to remember that there's relationships there, and that's important. So.
Well, I think if you have them relationships, I think that's what gives you the confidence to strike out and be original. Knowing that you can always go home, and there are people that love you. Exactly. Whatever you do. You know what I mean? It's that thing of going, if you've got that base in place, if you set out to be famous, you're on hide into nothing. But if they go, it's just that way, and that becomes a phrase that your mum uses. It's like when you take your artwork home, she goes, I put it in the garden. She put my abstract female form next to a garden gnome. And it looks like it's meant to have sex. It's like, this is your new wife. It's built out of clay. You'll enjoy it. And this gnome's going.
Johnny, thank you.
I like it. It's arty.
Thank you so much for doing today's podcast. Thoroughly enjoyed it. We've got to stop now because Mark.
Let's
God
do
bless
10
him.
more. Mark's right under the sun there.
He's so hot. He's right under the sun, and he's struggling a bit. So, so we've got to leave it now. Thank you.
Mark's t-shirt has ceased to be. It's just a dye on his top now, isn't it? He quietly went up in flames, but I was selfishly discussing his sense of loss.
Just turn that camera around.
He powered through.
So we can see Mark in all his glory. Oh, you won't be able to see it. It's too light. Johnny, thank you.
It's like a male version of Tenko.
Thank you so much for doing a podcast, Johnny.
Do me a favour, can you just put the camera back on Mark? Just grab it and go, I'm coming for you. Recreate the end of Rambo. Rambo 2.
Brilliant. Thank you everyone who's tuned in today.
Thank you for watching.
It's very, very hot in here, and it's been a fantastic chat. And
any time it looked like I wasn't engaging because I was wondering about how chilled the beer was. I apologise. I really was enthralled.
See you soon.
Cheers, guys. Bye.